The Gilded Age just hit us with another bombshell. And trust me, episode 5 was packed with drama that'll have you on the edge of your seat. Marion and Larry are finally stepping into the spotlight with their engagement. But little do they know, their happiness could be short-lived. Secrets are being kept, families are at war, and the Russells are facing not just personal turmoil, but financial collapse. What's next for them? Will love triumph, or will family power struggles destroy everything? Buckle up, because things are about to get wild as we dive deeper into the world of the Russell family. Episode 5 of Gilded Age throws us into a whirlwind of emotions, tension, and drama. Marion and Larry's engagement is supposed to be a moment of joy, right? After all, they've spent the last few months sneaking around, hiding their relationship from the prying eyes of their families. But of course, in true Gilded Age fashion, this happy moment is far from simple. First, let's talk about Marion. For a woman who's already faced a ton of challenges in this society, her engagement to Larry is supposed to be a victory. But that's the problem. Nothing in her world is ever that simple. The moment she says yes to Larry's proposal, everything changes. The first hurdle, Agnes. Now, we know Agnes isn't exactly the most warm-hearted character, but this time, her concerns hit a bit differently. She pretends to support the engagement, but we can tell she's worried. Agnes has always been about keeping the status quo and holding on to power, and the idea of Bertha possibly gaining more influence through Marion's marriage to Larry. That's a terrifying thought. Agnes isn't wrong, though. If Bertha gets her way, she could easily steal the spotlight in this family. We've seen how far Bertha is willing to go to get what she wants, and Marion's future with Larry could very well be in the crossfire. Meanwhile, across the street, things aren't any better. Larry's parents, George and Bertha, are far from thrilled. George, ever the pragmatist, isn't exactly outwardly upset. He congratulates the couple, but there's a chill in the air. It's Bertha that steals the show in this scene. Her reaction is ... classic Bertha. She feels blindsided, and we know that whenever she's not the one pulling the strings, she's not happy. It's a classic move for her, always trying to keep control. And the fact that this engagement wasn't orchestrated by her makes her uneasy. But honestly, I couldn't care less about her concerns. Larry and Marion's happiness is at stake here, and no one, not even Bertha, should be able to ruin that. Now, if we thought things couldn't get more intense, they sure do. George, as usual, has his own agenda. And when we see him go into full business mode, the tension rises even more. George's priorities are shifting, and his support for Larry might not be as genuine as it first seemed. He seems to be making a choice here. Does he want to protect his family's reputation, or does he see this engagement as a chance to bring Larry into the fold? Either way, it's clear George is no longer as supportive of Larry as he once was. And that shift is something to keep an eye on. As the episode progresses, we get a closer look at Marion's growing unease. The new trailer for the upcoming episodes teases that this engagement might not be as smooth as it seems. Larry, who's now about to head off with George on a business trip, has some secrets of his own. And when Marion gets wind of his interest in nightlife and other unsavory habits, she starts to question everything. We all saw how she had doubts before, and now it's time for Marion to put on her detective hat and get to the bottom of this. But what she uncovers, well, let's just say it's not good. Marion's trust in Larry is about to be shattered, and this engagement could be on the brink of disaster before it even truly begins. The cracks are already starting to show. What happens when Marion realizes she's not just marrying a man, but a series of secrets she never expected? This engagement is on the edge of a cliff, and the next steps Marion takes could change everything. If you thought the tension between Marion and Larry was intense, wait until we dive into the drama surrounding Glattis and her new life as a duchess. Talk about a change in scenery. Glattis, once part of the glamorous New York elite, is now trapped in the cold, distant world of Sidmouth Castle, far from the bustling energy she's used to. And let's be honest, this new life isn't exactly a fairy tale. Sure, Hector, her new husband, has money, and the castle is beautiful, but the reality of it all is much harsher than Glattis ever imagined. Her sister-in-law, Lady Sarah, is nothing short of a nightmare, constantly overshadowing Glattis at every turn. This should be Glattis's moment to shine as the lady of the house. But instead, Lady Sarah steps in and takes control as though it's her own domain. Glattis might have the title, but Sarah is the one calling the shots. Now, this could have been a minor issue, but it goes way deeper. The passive-aggressive power plays between Glattis and Sarah are enough to drive anyone mad. Sarah's constant undermining, making sure Glattis feels like an outsider in her own home. only adds to the loneliness that's already creeping in. Glattis, still not fully adjusted to English customs and humor, feels more like a fish out of water than ever before. And to make matters worse, Sarah isn't just a thorn in her side, she's a constant reminder of Glattis's struggles. Glattis is stuck in a foreign country with no one to truly turn to. Her maid Adelheid, who was a rare source of comfort, is fired by Sarah, leaving Glattis completely isolated. But here's the kicker. Glattis isn't the type to just roll over and accept her fate. No, she's smarter than that. Instead of letting herself be completely crushed by her circumstances, she takes control of her own narrative. In an unexpected move, Glattis writes a letter to Bertha, asking for help. The woman who pushed her into this marriage, who essentially handed her over to Hector as a pawn in a larger game of power, is now her last hope. It's a brilliant move on Glattis's part. She knows that despite Bertha's harsh treatment, Bertha is still the most powerful woman she knows, and if anyone can help her navigate the treacherous waters of her new life, it's Bertha. This move is a game changer. We've seen Bertha dominate in the New York scene, and now she has the chance to use that power to help her daughter. The fact that Glattis is asking for Bertha's help signifies a major shift in their relationship. Glattis isn't just some helpless, vulnerable woman anymore. She's actively taking control of her situation. She may be playing a dangerous game, but I have to say, it's hard not to respect her for that. And just as things are beginning to turn around for Glattis, we get a sense that this might be the beginning of her transformation. From the young, naive woman we saw in New York to the savvy and shrewd duchess she could become. Glattis is starting to realize that power isn't just handed to you, it's something you have to take. And who better to teach her than Bertha? In the upcoming episodes, it seems like Bertha and Glattis will join forces, becoming a mother-daughter duo that we've all been waiting for. If you thought Bertha was tough before, just wait until she trains her daughter in the fine art of manipulation and control. This could be the beginning of a new chapter for Glattis, one where she's no longer the passive recipient of everyone else's power moves, but an active participant in her own destiny. As we move into episode 6, I'm eager to see how this partnership evolves. Will Glattis find her footing in this new life, or will she continue to be trapped by the forces around her? One thing's for sure, with Bertha's help, Glattis is about to become a force to be reckoned with. As if the chaos surrounding Marion, Larry, and Glattis weren't enough, we now shift our focus to the heart of the Gilded Age, the Russell family, and their ongoing struggle with both business and personal turmoil. While the engagements and family feuds are taking center stage, George Russell's empire is on the brink of collapse. The man who once seemed untouchable is now grappling with financial ruin. Talk about a complete 180. It's no secret that George has always been a man of power, using his wealth and influence to shape his world. But episode 5 throws a wrench in his carefully constructed world. His business is sinking, and it's not just a minor setback. It's a full-blown crisis. The pressure is building, and George is running out of options. In a desperate move, he turns to his longtime advisor, Clay, for a solution. Clay's advice: the deal George wants to close with the Merrick family is, well, impossible. The shares George wants to buy are just too elusive, and there's no way he's going to get them without paying a high price. But, as we all know, George Russell isn't the type to accept defeat. No. He reacts in the only way he knows how, by firing Clay and sending Larry to handle the negotiations. A bold move, especially considering Larry's involvement in his own personal drama. George's decision to send Larry to manage the situation speaks volumes about the strained relationship between father and son. It seems like George is passing the torch, but is it out of trust? Or is it because he simply has no other choice? This decision sets the stage for an even deeper power struggle between George and Larry. They've always been on opposite ends. But now, it's becoming clear that George might be looking for a way to push Larry into the spotlight, whether he's ready for it or not. Meanwhile, Bertha, ever the opportunist, doesn't sit idly by while George's empire crumbles. She steps in, using her charm to win over Alfred Merrick at a dinner. It's a strategic move. If George can't get the deal done, Bertha will. She's always been one to take charge, and now, with George's back against the wall, she's ready to swoop in and show her husband just how much influence she really holds. However, this isn't just about business for Bertha. She sees this as her chance to prove to George that she can handle things just as well, if not better, than he can. But, of course, nothing ever goes as planned in the Gilded Age. Merrick, suspicious of George's promises, refuses to sell. The deal falls apart, leaving George with no other option but to turn to the open market. But that comes with a catch. Buying shares on the open market would cost more money than George has available. This is where things get personal. We see the cracks in George's carefully crafted image. He's not the man who can solve every problem with his wealth and influence anymore. His empire is crumbling, and the weight of his financial troubles is beginning to take a psychological toll on him. It's not just the business that's falling out, parts it's George himself. Bertha, ever the realist, overhears George's financial woes, and, once again, it's clear that their marriage is on the rocks. The tension is palpable, and as their relationship continues to unravel, it's hard to ignore the emotional distance between them. After reading Glattis's letter, George places the blame squarely on Bertha. He accuses her of being the cause of their daughter's struggles. And it's here that we truly see the cracks in their marriage widen. The once unshakable bond between George and Bertha is starting to falter, and the weight of their personal and professional lives is taking its toll. What happens next? In the upcoming episodes, George's troubles only get worse. We know from the trailer that neither of the deals George has been pursuing are going to work out. This leaves him with no choice but to go into massive debt to try and save the family business. It's a gamble that could either destroy him completely or salvage what's left of his legacy. And as if that weren't enough, this financial collapse is about to have a huge psychological impact on George. The stress is building, and it might even push him to do something we never thought possible. Leave Bertha. Divorce. A topic we never thought we'd hear about with these two is suddenly on the table. Could this be the end of the Russell Empire as we know it? Will George and Bertha go their separate ways? Or is this just another dramatic twist in their already turbulent relationship? The stakes have never been higher for the Russells. As business and family collide, we're left wondering how far George and Bertha are willing to go to hold on to their power and whether it's worth destroying their family in the process. While the Russells battle financial ruin and Marion and Larry's engagement hangs by a thread, another storm is brewing in the background. And this one involves Peggy. Her storyline has always been one of the more grounded aspects of Gilded Age. And in episode 5, things take a more intense turn. Peggy's relationship with William seems to be moving forward, but of course, nothing is ever simple in their world. William, despite his good intentions, is constantly caught in the web of his overbearing mother, who's doing everything she can to put obstacles in Peggy's path. And as much as Peggy tries to navigate the challenges of being a woman of color in a world that's determined to keep her in a box, things only get more complicated. When Peggy and William attend a baseball game together, things take an unexpected turn. They run into none other than Thomas Fortune, Peggy's former editor, who invites her to interview the famed suffragette Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. On the surface, it sounds like a fantastic opportunity for Peggy, a chance to get back into the world of journalism and pursue something that could elevate her career. But as with everything in Gilded Age, what seems like a win quickly turns into a dilemma. William, who's already struggling with his own feelings about Peggy's independence, is not exactly thrilled about this opportunity. And when he learns that Thomas Fortune plans to accompany Peggy on the trip, things quickly spiral. The tension between William and Fortune becomes palpable. William sees Fortune as a threat, and it's not hard to understand why. For someone like William, who is already fighting against the expectations of his mother and society, the idea of Peggy working with an old acquaintance, someone who clearly has more experience and influence in the journalistic world, feels like a blow to his pride. He doesn't want Peggy to be involved in this world that could potentially overshadow their relationship. It's a classic case of male insecurity wrapped up in societal expectations. And it's clear that it's not just about Peggy's career, it's about control. But Peggy, she's no pushover. She knows what this opportunity means for her and isn't about to let William dictate her choices. Yet, as much as Peggy stands her ground, the growing friction between her and William starts to pull at the fabric of their relationship. What was once a strong, supportive bond is now under strain. The fight that erupts between William and Fortune is more than just a disagreement, it's a reflection of the power dynamics at play in their relationship. Peggy, in trying to stand up for her independence, is threatening the status quo. And William is feeling threatened by that. What's worse is that Peggy's complicated past is starting to creep into her present. William, who has always been somewhat unaware of the full extent of Peggy's struggles, now finds himself in a position where he has to confront the reality of who Peggy is and the challenges she's faced. When Peggy refuses to travel with Fortune, the rift between her and William deepens. Now, Peggy is forced to explain her past to him, and the truth might be more than William is ready to handle. This struggle between Peggy and William feels like a microcosm of the larger societal issues at play in the Gilded Age. Peggy's desire for independence, Her refusal to let anyone, including William, hold her back is a direct challenge to the traditional roles expected of women in this time. But William, despite his love for her, is still operating within a system that doesn't fully understand her. As much as they want to be together, they're both caught in a world that doesn't make it easy for them to find common ground. And as much as we root for their relationship, there's no denying that their struggles are far from over. In the next episode, we'll see how this growing tension between Peggy and William unfolds. Will Peggy's career dreams clash too violently with her personal life? Or will she find a way to balance both without losing herself in the process? And, more importantly, will William ever come to terms with the idea that Peggy's independence isn't a threat, but a strength? While the Russells continue to tear each other apart over business, and Marion's future with Larry remains uncertain, Peggy's fight for her place in the world is a reminder that the personal and the political are always intertwined. Her journey is far from over, and the choices she makes could change the course of her future, just as the choices of the Russells. Marion and Glattis will shape their own destinies in this high-stakes drama. With that, we've reached the end of this wild ride through Gilded Age Season 3, Episode 5. All the threads of family, power, and secrets are set to collide, and I can't wait to see how these stories unfold in the coming episodes. What do you think will happen next? Will the Russells survive this storm, or is this the beginning of the end for them? Let me know your thoughts, and stay tuned for more updates. As the drama unfolds in Gilded Age Season 3, Episode 5, one storyline that continues to captivate is the ongoing conflict surrounding Oscar. His bitter anger towards his mother, Ma, is not something we can easily overlook. Oscar's storyline has always been a tense one, rooted in betrayal and the unresolved issues of the past. And now, in this episode, things reach a boiling point. Oscar is furious, and rightfully so. Ma's return as a servant of position she's clearly been forced into after all the turmoil in their lives brings up one crucial unresolved matter: the missing money. We all know how much Oscar's life has been affected by the disappearance of that money, and now he's determined to get some answers. Despite everything that's happened, despite the fractured nature of their relationship, Oscar isn't ready to let go of the past. He believes that the money is still out there, and he's willing to confront his mother to get to the bottom of it. But let's be real, this isn't just about the money. It's about power, control, and a deep-seated desire to reclaim what was lost. Oscar's confrontation with Ma isn't just an angry rant. It's a pivotal moment in their relationship. He's looking for the truth, and Ma, who's always been a master of manipulation, is forced to face the consequences of her actions. Will she finally admit what she's done with the money, or will she continue to hide behind the lies? Oscar is hoping for answers, but the more he pushes, the more he realizes that the truth may not be as simple as he thinks. This face-off promises to be one of the most dramatic moments of the season, and honestly, I'm on the edge of my seat wondering how this is all going to play out. The trailer for the upcoming episode hints at more tension between Oscar and Ma. But here's the big question. What exactly happened to the stolen money? Is it gone forever, or is there still a chance Oscar could reclaim some of it? Oscar's hope is dwindling, but we all know that in the world of Gilded Age, things are rarely as straightforward as they seem. The stolen money represents more than just cash. It symbolizes the power and control that Oscar has lost over the years. It's no wonder he's so desperate to find it. And as we consider the fallout of Oscar's confrontation with Ma, we're left wondering what it means for the rest of the characters in the series. Will this feud between mother and son have broader implications for the Russell family? Will it shake up the power dynamics even further? One thing's for sure, story isn't finished yet and there's still a lot of drama to unfold. But while Oscar and Ma are grappling with the past, the Gilded Age isn't slowing down when it comes to raising the stakes for everyone involved. The Russells' future, Marion's uncertain marriage, and Peggy's difficult choices are all about to collide in ways that none of us can predict. As we continue to follow these characters through their complex, dramatic lives, we can only wonder how far they're willing to go to achieve their goals and what they're willing to sacrifice along the way. So, what's next for the Russells? Marion, Glattis, Peggy, Oscar, and the rest of New York's elite. How will their personal and financial struggles play out in the next episodes? One thing is for sure, the drama is far from over. The tension is building, and with each new twist, we're getting closer to the ultimate showdown. If you thought Episode 5 was intense, you're in for a wild ride in the next chapter of this high-stakes drama.